And good evening, everybody, and welcome to the best doggone podcast in the land with Ethan and Heather. This is College Football Roundtable with our very special guest, Gareon Conley, former Ohio State Buckeye, former NFL player. Thank you so much for being with us. I'm Ethan Greenberg, and alongside of me is Heather and Gareon. And welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we're really, really excited. And Gareon, I'm just noticing your blanket back there. So if that goes missing, it would look really nice in my background here. So I like it.
Oh, I could see the Brutus there. Now I see it a little bit better.
Yes.
Somebody in the family actually made it for me. My mom had somebody make it for me.
They're the best, aren't they? Moms always know, like a good blanket is always appreciated. Yeah. So Gareon, let's just start. Everybody knows, they know us. They especially know me because I'm a little extra on X there. But Gareon, introduce yourself to the people who may not know who you are. If they don't know who you are, I'd probably call them a liar. But introduce yourself. Yeah, shame. For shame. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing. So many things. I don't even know where to start. Like, you're doing so many awesome things. So tell us. Oh, look, we're getting some excitement too. That's my Buckeye. So Mike, thank you for joining. So Gareon, tell us a little bit about.
Yeah. Well, I've been doing training. Like, that's my main thing right now. I've been training kids. I live in Houston. I live like south of the city though. It's a place called Sienna. But I've been training kids for about 4.5 years. My stepson, Bryson Weber, he's actually a corner at Nebraska University. When he was a freshman in high school out here, when we moved out here, he moved in with me, and his mom moved in. That's really what got me into training, because I was working with him. I was injured at the time, and I just started to see like kids wanting to like add on his friends. That's actually how he made friends. We were working at the park, and he was new to the school, hadn't even been into the school yet. The kids were like working on their own, and they seen me working with Bryson, and then they actually ended up being friends, played football before school even started. And then as I seen the kids like growing, I actually just like fell in love with it, and I just wanted to like take it further. So I made that like a business thing, and a lot of kids around the area started to train with me, and I just took off from there. And then I did a podcast that was, I think, 2 years ago. It's just with all that, like you said, I've been doing a lot of things. It's hard for me to be consistent with the podcast and stuff. I'm getting bigger now, but I wasn't a big fan of social media. Like, I wasn't a poster. I'm not a content guy. So it's hard for me, but I'm growing into it. But I'm doing that, and then I actually been rehabbing and training myself to possibly make a comeback as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
So did I see something, Gareon, that you and Damon Arnett were starting to train together a little bit? Yeah. I had the pleasure of, if anybody doesn't know Damon Arnett too, they need to follow. I had the pleasure of meeting him happenstance at one of the Ohio State, actually, incidentally, at the Nebraska game last year. Yeah. I was at a tailgate, and one of the Bourne brothers tailgate. And Damon has to have like the nicest smile that I've ever seen in my entire life. He's just so happy and so full of life. So I thought that was really cool when I saw that. So are you two still training together, or is that something that just happens when you get together?
He's on the practice squad for the Texans, so he doesn't have much time to train now. But actually, I mean, everybody knows, it's been on social media and all over the internet. He had like stuff going on off the field. So I hadn't talked to him in like 3 years, and I was trying to get a hold of him. Like, but he even told me, he was just like, I was so afraid to like speak to like my brothers or anybody that like I love, because he felt like we were ashamed of him. And I was telling him, I'm like, bro, no matter what, like, obviously I'm transparent. So I was like, he knows this, I'm always tell you about your shit. Like, I'm gonna get on you, but I'm never gonna not love you or be there for you. And that's why I was trying to reach out to him like a lot, but I just couldn't get to him. But it's crazy. He actually happened to be in Dallas. That's where he was staying. And I was out there for the UFL when I came back to play a year ago. And one of my teammates came in the locker room, and they were like, hey, I just seen Damon Arnett at the barbershop. He said to hit you up. and I got his number or whatever. And I had texted him, but we like just didn't connect. And then he's from Florida. He ended up being in Florida, and my sister lives there now. And he's like, that's how close we are. Like, he knows my family. So they FaceTime me randomly, like, and he was with her, and we just got together. And he was like, yeah, Houston is gonna give me a workout. I'm gonna be out there. So when he came out here, I just was like, let's get together, let's train. Actually, even before that, he ended up playing for the Houston Roughnecks. So I went to a couple of his games, and we went to eat and stuff. And then after that, he had said he got to work out with the Texans. So I was like, yeah, come out here whenever you need to train. Just let me know. Like, I'll train you for free. Like, and we just got together for a couple workouts. Yeah. And then he got signed to the Braves.
Well, and that's really, I think that goes to, I guess that I could ask you the first question that goes to kind of the brotherhood. You always heard Urban kind of started that, talk about the brotherhood, talk about the closeness of the players, talk about how you guys were in the locker room. And I think that goes to what you're saying, that you hadn't connected and you hadn't talked in so many years, but it was like that instant, he's still your brother, he's still your friend, you're still going to be there for him. So, and yeah, he went through stuff. I think that that's where social media, like you were talking about, social media is great at amplifying all of the bad, and they're really good at amplifying. I don't want to use the word fake news because but they're really good at amplifying false accusations. And I don't want to get too deep into what you have been through, but if anybody knows your story, if there is a textbook definition for false accusations, you were the textbook definition of false accusations. And I don't want to get too far into it because I have very strong opinions on it. And I don't love the fact that we automatically believe somebody when they're accused. Like, I hate that. I hate that piece of it. So is the fact that you were going through that, is that part of the kind of hesitancy on getting yourself back out there on social media and putting yourself out there, or is it just because it's a dumpster fire?
I mean, it's a dumpster fire for sure, but no, that has nothing to do with it. I'm an introvert. Like, I've always been the low key guy and never really been on it. And I remember, like, even back when I was playing at Ohio State and when I first got in the league, like, even my agent and people were just telling me, like, you need to market yourself, like, and brand yourself, because, like, when football is over too, like, this is how you, like, build relationships and all that. Like, I don't even like talking to people. Like, so, like, I made it my New Year's resolution. That was 2 years ago, I think, like, to just even talk more to people and, like, do things like this. Like, and that's why I started the podcast and all that stuff. I just an introvert. Like, I just be in my own world, but I know as well, social media is it's just a lot. So I always watch what I post as well too. But it's just like you said, they're always looking for a narrative. I mean, journalists and media people, they get paid for a story. And for people that are watching and want a story, they want drama, they want conflict, they want controversy. Like, that's what sells, I guess. So, and I feel like it could sell with more positivity, but I don't know. They just don't think that.
Oh, and I totally agree. And I think that that's why I am overly positive, I think, on social media, because it's just not worth it. It's not worth, they love the tear down, build you back up story. And I just think that we lose sight of the fact that you're human beings, that you play football, but you're a human being, you're a real person. And so do you think that, how hard was that as an introvert? How hard was that going into Ohio State is such a high profile team. You're an instant celebrity. You have adults who are fawning all over you. You have kids that are fawning all over you. And then you have everybody in between that kind of wants a piece of you. So how were you able to navigate that when you got on? Because you were on very good teams and you were a very good player. So you were high profile. How did you navigate that?
I think Urban helped with that a lot. I mean, honestly, everyone in the building. I think that the great thing about Urban is he's not egotistic or stubborn. So, like, he knows what he knows. Like, so he's gonna tell you what he knows. But if he doesn't know something, he's gonna find somebody that does, or he's not gonna try to do everything. So with his staff, I feel like he's made sure he hired everybody to be in the right positions for everybody to be successful in the building. Whether if it was a trainer, athletic trainer, strength coach, a coach, assistant coach, like the GAs, anybody. Like he wouldn't let anybody in the building that wasn't a success for the program. So I feel like with him doing that, it just helped us grow into men, not just like football players. So he always gave us messages and lectures and all that. And as of course, kids 18 to 20 years old, 22 years old, like we're just not listening like that. Obviously we listen, but like more so after college, you really see all the messages that he was saying, and like to keep everything in house, like you said, our brotherhood. He just molded us into these mentally tough people that didn't have to worry about distractions, and we were just so focused on like doing what we needed to do to be successful on and off the field. So it kind of wasn't that hard. And then already I was to myself anyway, so it kind of just was an enhancement for me.
Like, please, I just want to go play football and be left alone. It's like going to work, right?
No, it is. Sometimes it is for sure.
You just want to go, you want to do your job, and you want to do it really good. And then you want to go home and you want to lay your head down and, live to fight another day, so to speak.
Yeah. I mean, there's always the things that are like, I mean, I don't, there's probably somebody that is perfect, but I know me, like I fed into like media and like argued with people and do stuff like that. Like it happens, but then you just realize, like at the end of the day, it's just not worth it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Ethan, I'm sorry, I've been monopolizing, so go ahead.
I was going to ask you. I thought that because you brought up Urban. So first of all, I want to say I am I'm a Stark Countyan myself.
Oh, really?
I am. I went to Glen Oak.
Oh, that's where my little brothers went.
Oh, wow. I graduated class of 97. I'm old. But I also know the Massillon-McKinley rivalry.
Yeah.
And I know you're a Massillon Tiger, so awesome. That is awesome. I did get to call at least one game from Paul Brown Stadium, and got to call a number from Fawcett before it became Tom Benson. I think I was actually there when Glen Oak finally beat McKinley with Dustin Fox on the team. So that was pretty awesome. I was going to ask you about Urban Meyer. You mentioned him. Were you surprised that he was all the success he had at Ohio State and Bowling Green and Utah and Florida, that he didn't have the success in Jacksonville in the NFL?
Surprise? No, because he's not an NFL coach.
Okay.
The reason why is because what Urban is like somebody who sets a standard and sets a culture. In the NFL, it's not like that. You have a bunch of grown men, fluctuating ages, and then at Jacksonville, what he walked into, it just wasn't that top tier program of people what he was used to. And anybody in the NFL that gets yelled at or gets talked to or gets held accountable in some ways, they probably won't like it because they're taking it the wrong way. And it's just, I feel like he's just not an NFL coach in that aspect. So I feel like that's why it really didn't work. And I know Devin Smith, he was at Jacksonville at the time, and I asked him, I was like, yo, like, what's going on? Like, is Urban really tripping over there? Or is like they don't understand? He like, no, he's literally the exact same way he was in college. He was like, they just can't handle it. Like, because he was like, I haven't seen anything different from him. He was over there with him the whole time. So, or not the whole time, but he was there when he was there. So yeah, I've been in NFL locker rooms, and it's just like you could literally watch an interaction with a coach and a player. A coach could literally be yelling at him for messing up, and the player would just be stubborn or just be egotistic, and just like that's what a coach is supposed to do. He's supposed to get on your ass when you mess up. But yeah, no, that's what it was for sure.
Your boss, I mean, but I guess there's probably not the threat of being benched. Like you're not going to bench your star player. Whereas in college, you have that next man up mentality. You have people vying for that spot. So I guess that, that does make sense. I never thought, honestly, I always thought that, not that I know anything, but he did seem more of a coach. Urban is more of a coach, and you don't need that in the NFL. You need someone to call the plays.
That's exactly. It's crazy that you say that, because I tell that to these kids. I'm like you don't understand the difference, because everybody thinks. I mean, we thought it too, but he told us like when you go to the NFL, it's not going to be the same as college. Like when you get there, they're just teaching plays, they're teaching schemes. Like They don't care about your outside life. They don't care about what you got going on. Like you might get those 4 or 5 programs that usually be in the playoffs every year and go deeper. Those are the real programs, but most teams, they're just there to do their job. Like it's just like everybody else that has like a job. Like you just go there, you go to work, and we try to win. And if not, then we go our separate ways. Like it's not like college at all.
Yeah. Well, and you have players like, I feel like, okay, this is probably a good segue because I wanted to ask you about NIL. I feel like in the era that you played in, you didn't have the NIL, which I still think is wildly unfair. Wildly unfair. You should have gotten paid, but I feel like you had players that went to teams because they wanted to win and they wanted these cultures and they wanted to have these teams where they were going to be set up for the next level. But now I think sometimes you have some of these players that are going to these programs that are giving them the biggest paychecks.
Yeah, for sure.
How do you think NIL is shaping college football now compared to when you were playing?
I think I wouldn't necessarily say ruining it, but it's definitely downgrading it for those simple facts, for those reasons. And then not even just that, the transfer portal. Like if a kid doesn't like what's being asked of them or the standard or the expectation, they just leave because it's hard or they don't like it, not necessarily because they're getting played. Or that's the whole reason for transferring back in the day. It was like you weren't getting fair opportunities to play, or you and the coach just didn't get along, so you wanted to leave or something like that. But now it's just like it's hard, or they're not getting enough money, so now they're leaving. So it sounds like the NFL. Like that's what it's coming down to.
Is it kind of something where it's a reflection of society in general, where people these days don't want to take on a challenge, and when something gets hard, they're like, "I'm out. I'm out. I'm going to go find something else. I don't need this. Someone else is willing to offer me money. I'm out."
Yeah, it's definitely a entitled society these days. I see it a lot with obviously college, but these school kids, like it's crazy, especially around here because like I live in a nice neighborhood and they have like so much stuff, like access and resources. And I'm telling them, like, because I'm from Ohio, I'm like, y'all got to understand how grateful y'all should be just to have an open field to train at. Like in Ohio, like where I'm from, like if there's no school activity, you can't go out on the field and practice. Like where I live at, the high schools and the middle schools, their fields are open to the public. And they have like, I'm a DB trainer. There's probably like 5 DB trainers within 10 miles each range. I'm like, there's only one trainer I know in Ohio, and it's my cousin. He just started training like a couple years ago. Like, so it's like, for y'all to have all this stuff and all this access, y'all should be grateful, but y'all should be willing to work harder, like not be entitled or be complacent when you have an offer or when you have NIL, like want a challenge, like you said, and want more and be hungry. But I just feel like the society is definitely getting soft and accepting a lot of other stuff that shouldn't be accepted.
Well, and do you, so somebody had commented that NIL is changing the SEC, and I think that actually is relatively accurate because we are seeing a dip in the SEC in the top teams, and we're starting to see, let's be completely honest, it's the SEC versus the Big Ten. You can have that debate all day. Who is the better conference? You're not going to you're not going to throw the ACC in there. You know, you're just not. Yeah, you're just not. And you see these programs over and over and over again that are successful. Even when they're not successful, they're still in the hunt. And you have programs like Ohio State. You have programs like Penn State. You had programs like Alabama when Nick Saban was there. But you have these programs that, regardless of NIL, they're still bringing that culture. So you brought players in with the NIL deals like Caleb Downs, who we have the 2 best players in college football on either side of the ball, and Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs. I say we, like I've ever taken a snap under center for Ohio State, right? I played flag football, so I know what I'm talking about. So we have the best 2 players, but you have in a Caleb Downs and in a Jeremiah Smith, they're getting paid, but they're also putting that work in. They're also they're also dogs off the field. They're at practice. They are leaders. They're captains. They're vocal. They're the ones that are on the sidelines that are, reading plays and looking at plays. And Emeka Ibuka comes to mind in the national championship game. He's on the sidelines and he's like, you need to pass it to Jeremiah. I see that coverage. But you have those programs that are like that over and over again. And you're starting to see the programs where players are leaving and or going, like a Miami. You're going to have a player that's going to go there for $5 million, and then the rest of your roster isn't going to be great. So you have these players who are just going there for the money and they don't care what else happens. I would rather have, and I don't know how you feel about this, Gareon, but I would rather have someone who they'll take $1 million, like that's nothing to sniff at, over a $5 million. Over a $5 million, but they want to win that national championship. Exactly. They want to make that playoff run. So the kind of kids that you're coaching are because you are a coach, you're training them, but you're coaching them up too. Are you trying to coach them up to have that mentality to don't go to the easy place, don't go to the place that's going to give you the most money?
Yeah, no, definitely. I went through a little bit of that with my stepson. Was like Baylor and I forget the other school, but he had like Oregon State, Utah, Baylor, Nebraska. It was a couple other schools, but like the other schools were just throwing money at him because like, so say instance Baylor, if they hear Nebraska, it's like Nebraska is a Big Ten school, so they're gonna try to like match offers or throw more money so he doesn't go to a bigger school because a kid that wants to be great, they're gonna go to Nebraska over Baylor, And I told him, like, on his visits, like, obviously at the end of the day, it's your decision. I'm not telling you where to go, but don't go somewhere based off of money. Because one, money is the root of all evil. Like, you're going to find yourself in a dark place, in a dark spot, if you just go there off of money and be miserable. But two, just understand, like he said, that challenge. You want that challenge. You want somewhere that's going to make you better. And understand what your goal is. Like, is your goal to go to college and get a degree and be successful, whether it's football or not, or is your goal to just get some money? Like, because there are a lot of people that are money that aren't happy. So like, you need to understand like what your goal is, and that's going to help you decide on where you want to go, not just money. But these kids that I train, I take everything from Ohio State that I've learned on and off the field, and then I apply it to them. Like, we do the exact warm up that the players do for our warm up. We work out just like they do. And I coach them up just the way that I was coached up. I'm hard on them. I keep them humble. I'm transparent with them. They know that. But I feel like that has made them tougher and made them like more resilient in ways like that they didn't ever understand that they could be. Like when they go through things hard on or off the field, I feel like they're way better at handling it now. Like my stepson had, there was like 5 in our group. Basically, I trained them all for free. And my stepson went to a D1 school, one went D2, one went to JUCO, one is going to South Carolina just for academics, and then the other is working a job here, and he's about to go to community college. But I told them, like, when they first met, and we started off with like a group of 12 or 13, and I told them, I said, one, you're not going to end up in this full group because some people it's going to be too hard for them. They're going to quit. And we had like 2 people quit the first workout. They couldn't handle it. And other people just aren't going to have the same mindset as you. And a lot of people just left, and it ended up being 5. And I told all of them, I'm like, you're not all going to go D1. You're not all going to play college football. Like, but you have to understand, if you have this mindset and train and work out the way that we are, you're going to be successful in anything that you do. Because it's the same things. You need the same things for football as you do in life. You need hard work ethic. You need responsibility, accountability. You need passion. And you need to have a team. Like, that's how it's going to be. So, yeah, I feel like I'm just molding them into be men for sure, like how I was molded at Ohio State.
Yeah, it's nice to have that background for you because you had a great mentor in Urban, and I'm sure all of your other coaches. And I would imagine, Gareon, to some degree, did you have mentors in some of the older players that you were practicing with and trying to beat, in a sense?
Yeah, no, yeah, for sure. Healthy competition for sure. Coach Meyer, like I said, he put the right people in the right place as far as assistant coaches and strength coaches and trainers and counselors and all that. But as far as players, like he told us my first time walking on campus, like, look, I'm getting rid of all the cancers. Like we came in with like I think 20 to 25 people in our class when I was in 2013 class. And I think by the time the end of the semester, we lost 3 or 4 players already because it was either too hard or they got kicked out. Like, but that was his motto. He was like, look, I'm getting rid of all the cancers. I want people who want to buy into the culture and they want to be here. I don't give a damn who you are. If you're a 5-star or no star, like that's how it's going to be. And I feel like that ended up being the way the team was because they either got kicked out or they just left because they weren't in that culture. And it was so many people that bought into the culture that if you were ignorant or if you were a dickhead, like you wouldn't fit in, you would feel uncomfortable just being around us. So that's why you would end up leaving anyway. So I feel like that was just how he did it. And then like, as far as competition, like we knew that we were brothers at the end of the day. Like me, Marshawn, and Denzel were all competing for a spot at the same time my last year there. And I was a returning starter. And I knew even being a returning starter, your spot isn't secure. You got Marshawn Lattimore and Denzel Ward right behind you for your spot.
You guys had that DB class? My God.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, and we're best friends to this day too. So like,
I was watching highlights and I'm like, how are we that rich? That was there for a while. Ohio State was like linebacker and DBU. Like it was, how are we that good? And I think we're quietly getting there again. But seriously, all of you made it into the NFL. Lattimore went to New Orleans, and poor Denzel. He plays for us. I love him so much.
Well, wait a second.
He's so good, but my God.
Now, wait a second, though, folks, because, Heather and I being Ohio-based here, if the fans don't know, who was your first professional touchdown against?
The Browns.
And who did you intercept? Yes.
Baker Mayfield.
Yes. Yeah, no.
Was that also the game that Hugh Jackson put Nick Chubb in for like 3 plays and
then he took him out?
Touchdown?
Right. Just based on that. I was super excited because you went to Oakland. I have in my curio cabinet case, I corner DBs, hands down my favorite position, period, ever. Like, and it's always been like that. I don't know why. It's true, right, Ethan? Like it's absolutely, I'm obsessed with the corner position and Chimney Chekwa. I don't know. I loved him. I loved Chimney Chekwa. But you guys had such a, I mean, everybody remembers Gus.
The whole team, I mean, loaded. You made that national you were part of the national championship run in the first college football playoff where you had to come back from adversity, losing to Virginia Tech in the second week and being down here. I'm in Virginia and I work with someone who is a Virginia Tech person and I'm like, son of a
a nut every now and then.
Right. But then, you make that, the team makes
that run was incredible.
It was beating Wisconsin, 55-0 in the
59,
Big
59. Yeah, it was 59-0.
12 gauge.
Yeah.
12 gauge.
Yeah. Well, it was Cardale. So how did Cardale, hearing him talk in the stories from him and Urban about how he was this close to getting kicked off the team.
He turned around. He definitely turned around quick.
Yeah. Gareon, please join the Browns. But I mean, you're very talented. So I don't know if you want to do that.
No, if they called me, I would
defense
definitely
is good
take
on
that.
the Browns. It's the offense that is.
Who was the best wide? You had to go. I mean, it's become wide receiver you kind of at Ohio State. Did you have one particular wide receiver that you went up against at Ohio State in practices that was like, you're like, wow, just kind of knock your socks off? Or who was the toughest battle?
That was a lot of tough battles at Ohio State. We had a lot of guys. It's crazy because Corey Smith was one of the receivers that he came in and he would, if you can ask anybody that was on our team that 2013 and 2014 year, he was the best receiver we had. He just had some off the field issues. And I feel like when he played against Virginia Tech, he had a couple of drops and I feel like it messed with his mind or something. I don't know. But he was like one of the person that rarely ever lost in practice. Like he was amazing. But we had so many, man. Like I tell people all the time because they always ask me like, who's the best receiver I've won against in the league? I'm like, there was besides Antonio Brown, there was nobody better than the Ohio State receivers I went against. Like we had Michael Thomas, we had Devin Smith, Evan Spencer was a sleeper. When I got there, Corey Brown, Philly Brown was there.
Yeah.
We had Curtis Samuel, Paris Campbell, Terry McLaurin was there. Like Noah Brown's a sleeper too. Like I feel like me and him were the ones that went at the most. Yeah. Like
when I met Noah Brown, though, I was just looking, I'm like, how are you this tall? Like, you're not supposed to be this tall.
Yeah, he's a really good receiver. Yeah. We had a lot of guys, man.
Devin Smith, for me, I think was one of the most underrated and under talked about players. If there was some like crazy statistic that year when Devin Smith caught a touchdown pass, you guys were like undefeated. Yep. He was money in the playoffs. He was, especially against Alabama.
Yeah.
He was very under talked about. And I will never forget the pass from Evan Spencer to Michael Thomas with the 1 foot down with the half inch. Like
in the Alabama game.
Yeah. I've maybe watched it 700 or 800 times.
Devin Smith,
Devin was definitely underrated, man.
In 2014, he had 33 receptions, 931 yards, 28.2 yards per catch.
He just created such separation. So Gareon, let me ask you, as a corner and as a DB, so when you're lining up, what do you prefer? Do you like man coverage? Do you like zone coverage? What do you like more? Does it depend on the receiver? Does it depend on the scheme?
Yeah, I was about to say it definitely depends on the scheme. But what I like more, of course, is just man, because that's what I played at Ohio State. Like we pressed everything. We weren't allowed to play off. But that kind of messed me up in the NFL because the NFL is obviously a lot more talent, and you have way more talented offensive coordinators. So you can't play press every snap. So when I got there, I didn't know how to play off that well. And they would get so mad at me because I pressed every single snap. And they're like, what the hell are you doing? Like, back up. You're giving away our coverage. Like, you're telling them what we're running if you press it every time. And I'm just like, I don't know how to play anything with press. But no, definitely press is like my go-to. But obviously, like, if you want to get more interceptions, like, you should play zone. So, like, I would prefer zone because I get more interceptions. But if we need somebody to lock down, like, I'm going to play man, like, for sure.
Okay.
Well, sorry to interrupt. That brings me to a good question about the difference in the college game to the pro game. First of all, you've got, I think it's great for Ohio State now to have Matt Patricia there. I think he's adding a lot, brings from the NFL. How difficult was it to make the transition in terms of how to defend passes, not face guarding? Like, in the pros, you can't face guard. You're gonna get
5 yards, more
rules. right. As opposed to college. And then the other question off of that is the pass interference rule in college being 15 yards versus spot of the foul.
It's tough. It's so tough.
There's more incentive to commit the penalty. Commit the penalty and then not give up the touchdown. And then you live to fight another 3 or 4 downs.
But how hard was it to make that transition?
It's hard, but it's still football at the end of the day. I think the more so the hard part is just the level of competition. Because in college, like, there are games where I have no targets or they're not going to throw to my side, or where we don't play a good throwing team, or we have a terrible O-line, like the difference of that in the league, like you could play the worst team in the league, but play against the best receiver or one of the top 5 receivers or one of the top 5 quarterbacks, because like when you get drafted as a quarterback, you're going to the worst team in the NFL. So you could literally be playing the worst team, but still lose, like, because you're going against everybody in the NFL made it to the NFL for a reason, So I feel like that's the major difference. I feel like it's hard with the NFL rule being 5 yards to touch them. That's so stupid. But at the end of the day, in college and in the NFL, like, they're heavy defensive pass interference emphasis. It's a passing game now. Like, so the emphasis is more on passing touchdowns. That's what gets money. That's what fantasy points, like, it's all about money with the NFL. So that's all it's about. Like, they want to see passing touchdowns, so they're going to get more DPIs, more holding calls and all that. It's an offensive emphasis game, you know?
Yeah, don't even get me started on fantasy, because I think fans are nuts. They're going to go up to hey, you ruined my fantasy. No, you're the dummy who drafted him, so go somewhere else.
Or you're the dummy who doesn't realize it's fantasy.
Yeah.
Right, like, who cares? Who cares? I'm in 8 fantasy leagues, and I have never trashed a player for blowing the. I'm like, I'm a dummy. I don't know how to set a lineup. Like, that's, and then I move on to the next thing. So you bring up a good point where a lot of people talk about, okay, Ohio State, for example, and you know, in the Browns, I hear Ohio State could beat the Browns. No, they probably couldn't, because most of the players, at best, 14 players from Ohio State they're going to go into the NFL. You still have a bunch of other players out there that are not going into the NFL. And you know, people like they forget that there is a correlation between bad NFL teams and really good college teams.
Exactly.
Bad NFL teams are still pretty good as far as talent. They're just, team-wise, they're not the best. Hello, Cleveland. I love them, but you know.
I think the major thing, like, when people say that, they don't understand like why the teams are bad. Like, the teams are bad in NFL, one, because they've had just a bad office. So like the owner, the GM, it's not necessarily the players, but then also when you have players, if they're not in the right scheme, because that's what the NFL is all about, then it doesn't work out. And I'm a perfect example of that. When I was at the Raiders, I was not playing my best football. And in the same season in 2019, I got traded to the Texans. And I played my best 10 games in my career in the same season, and I played my worst 8 games in my career. And that's all based off the organization I was in the scheme I was in. So they don't understand that. And they don't understand, like, in college, you have 17 to 23-year-olds developing. Like, so there's going to be a lot of plays that look like they're just so amazing when really they're not that amazing. They're just going against somebody that's not developed.
They're playing against underdeveloped teams. So, okay, Mike, we'll get to that question in a second, because one of the things that I wanted to ask is, one of the things I see, and I've actually been guilty of asking it myself, and I will be, you know, man enough to admit it's because I don't understand, but on a lot of the DPIs, you see people saying, why didn't he turn around? Why didn't he turn around? So can you explain, as somebody who has played corner at the highest level, why don't DBs always turn around? What is sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
Yeah, more than not, they should have turned around. I say the same thing as I watch football, as like me being a fan now of college or whatever. Like, I say the same thing. Like, why did you just turn around? And in high school, like, oh my gosh, it's even worse. Like, coaches are teaching them not to turn around. Like, it's bad. Like, I don't understand it. But I would say a good number of the times when a DB does not turn around, it's because of fear, like which way to turn. So there's a difference of a zone turn and a man turn it into the man. Where you are in the field depends on which way you should turn around. And obviously you don't see it as much on TV, but sometimes when they run and don't turn around, they're getting pushed off. So like, and there's a rule. The rule in the NFL is receivers are actually allowed to push off of you. They just can't fully extend, which is why I tell people all the time, like, DB is the hardest position because we're at a disadvantage. They can push off of us, but as long as they don't fully extend, it doesn't matter. But if we push them at all, then it's a DPI. So like, that's another reason why people don't turn around. Sometimes you can't see it. Like, they're not in a position to turn around, so they just put their hands up or play the hands. Or also too, if you're running and you end up close and you may turn around and the ball comes down as you're turning around, like, it's hard to time that up if you're not in good position. So if you're catching up, then you shouldn't turn around, like, because you just have to play their hands at that point. But a lot of times I will say, like, people are right. Like, if you're in good position, which we call it in phase, if you're body to body and even with them or on top, you should turn around and look for the ball. because if not, you're gonna get DPI. Like it's gonna happen.
And that's where, like with Davison Igbinosa and this the Texas game, he had the game of his life, and I'm screaming at the TV. I'm like, see what happens when you turn around, because he's breaking out passes. I think he had like 10 tackles or something like that. He had pass breakups, and I'm like, see what happens when you turn around. So it's good to know that I'm not like a complete and total dumbass.
There's a lot of instances where like fans like get on each other, like you don't know, and it's like sometimes it's not that complicated. Like you do know, and you're right for them like making a dumb mistake. Like it happens. Like people aren't perfect in the NFL.
And that's another thing. I think that we get to where like, oh, that was blown coverage or all that. I'm like, yeah, you're saying that on your couch, with a big bag of Cheetos and a 2-liter of Mountain Dew while they're out there like doing the thing.
Doing it,
and how many times at work do I make a mistake? I made probably 30 today at work, and I didn't have somebody screaming at me saying, you big idiot. They're probably saying it in their brain, but that's where, again, it's a job and nobody is perfect. And my favorite, and Gareon as a fan, I don't know how you feel about this, but we're watching it from TV and we're like, he's wide open. Like, they're running. Their quarterback's running for their life. They don't see that he's wide open.
Doesn't show the full picture. That's why I don't watch it on TV. Really, like I think I watched the total of 4 full football games on TV my whole life.
Have you? So you don't watch Ohio State on Saturdays?
No, I've tried to, but I just end up not watching it because I just can't.
You know too much. You know too much. Yeah.
I watched the film though. I watched a lot of film. Like
I'd love to learn how to watch film because I'm all I know is Madden, and I can tell you what. All I can tell you is I can describe what's happening on the field. And Ohio State is so lucky to have Paul Keels. Paul Keels down on the field, the Jim Corsada. And that sort of thing. But trying to look at it, my son, he's playing Madden. I'm like, and then we're watching the game, and he's pointing out things. I'm like, I don't know.
I can play Tech Mobile. I'm a Tech Mobile kind of gal.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know, Heather. What about this? Do you mind answering this?
Gareon, was that hard to adjust to when you only had to have 1 foot down in college, but then in the NFL for it to be a catch, you had to have 2 inbounds? Or was Urban the kind of coach where kind of training you already, you want to try to get 2 feet down at all times anyway?
Right, or keep the receiver from getting, in the.
We definitely worked on that. We always try to get 2 feet down. Obviously, if you get 1 down, it's gonna count. But we always like prepared to be the best and like to be professional. So we worked on that, and even with like the 5-yard rule, like we worked on that at Ohio State as well. Like obviously, in times like if you touch him down the field, like it doesn't matter. But like we worked on like using our feet, in our eyes and hands more, like within 5 yards, just to prepare us for the NFL for sure.
Yeah, I think that sometimes the rules, the difference in the rules, I guess you want a different kind of product in college football because you do have teams that are maybe not as good. So you want the scores to be a little bit higher, and you do get
more money from it.
And the committee can say what they want, but blowouts matter.
I think the rules should be the same though. I do too. It doesn't make sense. Like, why would you change the rules and then you have to work on a rule thing now as far as skill set rather than just working on your skill set and your team? Like now I have to work on different things as far as a rule. Like that's dumb. I feel like it should be the same from high school up until college. I mean the NFL. But
because you're training your whole life. You're training your whole life. And tell me what child at that point, 18-year-old, doesn't go into college with in the back of their mind, maybe I can be good enough to go into the NFL, and we know that that's a big dream, and it seems like there are a lot of players in the NFL, but in correlation to how many players are in college, it's not that big of a percentage. But I would imagine that most players that go in, especially to higher level schools, are like, maybe I can make it. So it's just retraining your brain. Yeah,
it's crazy. I don't know. I always let me ask you this: we talk about the rules and the variations. How much do you think them now allowing communications into the helmet can potentially help quarterbacks and players and on defense too.
Oh, well, Spygate, yeah.
You're talking because you're talking to like the linebacker, whoever's got the green dot, and so on and so forth. How much does that help? It's got to help develop them for going to the next level, because instead of looking over to the sideline to see Donald Duck, Goofy, Mickey Mouse, and Pluto, you're getting a call in from the sideline and trying to figure it out.
Yeah. It definitely helps, but they cut off communication at a certain amount of seconds.
Like,
so
15 seconds
yeah,
or something.
yeah. So it's like at the end of the day, if you got a long call, like you're not really gonna get to communicate that anyway. Because like I know offensive calls, it's like X right, Z 45, X dive, Z nasty, smash go. Like it's like you got to get all that out and then tell the quarterback how to play it. It's like you won't have time to do all that. So you just got to be ready for all the things that come with practice and preparing and watching film to be ready for that moment. It does help though, like because it's like they could throw in a little hint there, like, hey, be ready for a shot, or make sure you tell this guy he let this pass open last play or stuff like that. Because like I know like with the linebackers having the mic, sometimes they'll give out like the defense, and then it's like, hey, coach said be ready for a shot here, or be ready for a slant here, just stuff like that. So it does help with the communication, but at the end of the day, that's one call, one play. Like there's so many more plays in the game that you have to be prepared and ready for. So at the end of the day, it's still all on the players.
It really helps though, having these players, recruiting these players that have a high football IQ, that can look at the way, the offense is lined up, and a Sonny Styles, who is the captain, or Caleb Downs can say, hey, you see him sometimes screaming at their move, or they're pointing. Yeah, they're pointing because they see something obviously that we, the the people on the couch with the Cheetos don't see. And so do you think that that's where programs like Ohio State's, like, well, I don't want to say Alabama right now, but like I'm just going to use Ohio State, that's where they have the edge, because they do look for players that aren't just athletically talented. They look for players that have that high IQ.
Yes, for sure. And that's what I feel like going into college, that's the hard part, because I mean, from what I've seen, this is just my personal experience and preference. High school coaches are at an all-time low right now. Like they don't teach football IQ. They don't teach football. They kind of like the NFL. They just teach the plays, like, and they rely on kids who are already athletic to just be good. And that's not how you prepare them for college, because when you go to college, there's going to be a lot more kids like you. There's going to be a lot more kids, even kids that are FCS or at the small schools or at Division II. They were the best kids on their teams in high school too. So when talent meets talent, now what? It's relying on training. It's relying on football IQ. So I feel like that's a big reason why Ohio State, and like you said, the old Alabamas, LSU's, Georgia's, like those teams, and even Clemson, like they were on a run where they were really good the past, 6 years when I was in college. It's just like Dabo Swinney, like they teach these kids football IQ, and they teach them how to play football, not just rely on their athleticism, because they know that there's a lot more kids that are athletic. And again, if you have a good coach, they're going to prepare you for what you are now and for the next level. So it's not just about winning games in college. It's about preparing you for life after college, So they're preparing them to understand football, so when they get to the next level, they can understand how to and already be ready to play as well. So I definitely think that's a big thing, and that needs to be taught more, because a lot of players don't understand football right now. And I see it even in the league. I watched a game the other day on film, the Raiders and the Patriots, and they have a young team over at the Raiders, and I seen them like giving up plays, and I'm just like, that's all IQ. Like it had nothing to do with athleticism or the offense doing anything special. It's just about knowing where to be.
Well, don't worry. Tom Brady is in the booth, giving all the hints to everybody. I don't know anything about that.
He should be a coach. He actually should be a coach.
Just out of curiosity, this is Angel from the Bearded Browns podcast. Great fella. Make sure to give them a follow. They're very kind to us. But who's your favorite defensive back in football right now? Outside of yourself.
Denzel.
Denzel, yeah, it has to be Denzel.
Yeah, easily. Like his technique is just amazing. Like,
He's
not only
crazy.
that he's fast, it's just like his. Even though, because I know a lot of guys that are fast that rely on that as well. That goes back to even football IQ. Like guys who have these special talents, like he's a 4.2 guy easily. Like he's fast, like strong, like he has all the blessed abilities that he could literally not use or that he can use to overcome not knowing where to be or not knowing his football IQ. But even with that, even technique, like he has all those abilities to not use that stuff and he still like is fundamentally sound. He still studies football. He still plays the game the right way. And it's just like I feel like that's harder to do. Like it's harder to handle praise than to be the guy that doesn't have all the athletic abilities or to be motivated, like when you're motivated, it's easier to like go harder and study and do all these things. Like he has all those things and is blessed with all that. And he still prepares like he doesn't have it. Like, and I feel like that's why he's flourishing right now for sure.
He's doing
So
amazing.
that actually brings up a question that I had for you guys. So your run at Ohio State, it was obvious that the talent level was just far and away better than most of your opponents that you played. I would argue pretty much all of the opponents that you guys played. So how do you as athletes and how did, your coaches keep you guys with your foot on the gas? Because sometimes I think players have a tendency to play to their level of competition and you just kind of let go and you're not as worried about it. So how did you as an athlete and your coaches just keep that mentality, keep that killer mentality that you always seem to have?
Yeah. I think it was just our whole staff and Urban did it to anybody, coaches included. Like he just always would get on our ass. Like, and I was telling, man, who was I talking to? I forget, and maybe it might have been my fiance. We were talking about a game that somebody won, but I was telling her like it's worse than losing when you almost lose a game to a team that you should have blew out. Because when you're going in there, like the next
Urban's gonna
morning, he's about to spaz. Like he's about to go crazy. Like we're going in there damn near scared to walk into the building because we know he's about to go off. And it's like, dang, we won.
You're like, no.
We won and we know
I'm
we're about to
going
get
sick.
ripped. Like that's worse. Like so I feel like him
Bend over because you're about to take it.
him creating that culture, it just permeated through the whole system, like and all the players and all the coaches. Like so it kept us like that. And we're not perfect. So there were times where we'd play down to our competition or relax or anything. But I feel like him creating that culture, if we had that on the field with somebody, one of the players on the field was going to say something or get on us or get back in shape, So it was like, regardless, like I said, it's a team effort. So if we had somebody who was playing down or if the defense was playing down to the competition or not playing as well, then the offense would pick it up and then like, hey, let's get on it, like get on this or vice versa, So it was just like there was never one person that wasn't at their best, So like if somebody wasn't, it was always somebody around that was locked in or on point to get that person that wasn't at the right moment to get back on track. So I feel like because he established that culture, like no matter who was down, somebody was around that was good to pick him back up. Like so
The
that's
next
really
man up
what it was.
mentality, right? Like that's what he
Exactly.
always preached. He always preached that next man up mentality. And they're like, I am not going to run until I throw up because your ass was
Exactly.
lazy. Like you get out there and play.
Yeah.
The mentality and the culture you talk about that Urban Meyer brought. Okay. So Urban Meyer had a way of dealing with TTUN, that team up north. So I want to ask you this question and going back to, when I was talking about you being in Massillon, McKinley
Question.
or OSU versus Michigan, bigger rivalry.
Come on.
The bigger rivalry is obviously Ohio State
okay.
team up north because of the level of football and like the amount of people. Like you got to think about the fan bases from both. They're all around the world. Like even I did a podcast with another guy yesterday who's from Florida.
Okay.
And lives in Dallas, but he's like a huge Buckeye fan. Like he said he was in the military. He was like, even when I was in deployment, like I told him I need at least 3 hours to watch Ohio State on the weekends. Like, I don't care if y'all make me work the rest of the day. Like he was that much of an Ohio State fan. and he was from Florida, but his dad was from Columbus, like, or went to Ohio State. But it's just like, so like the level of the fan bases, I just feel like it makes it bigger. But I don't think people understand how big Massillon McKinley's rivalry is.
Exactly.
Like, we have a parade when we beat them, like how Super Bowl parades are. We have a parade in Massillon. Yeah, we ride on the bus as players and ride through the downtown, and we have a big bonfire.
Oh, wow.
And it's like a Super Bowl parade, and it's like
Okay.
I don't know any other school in the country that does
No.
that for a high school rivalry. Like, it's
No.
crazy.
So that is the game. That is
Yeah.
the
It is huge. It is
Yeah.
absolutely huge. You had to be so happy just a couple of years ago when Massillon finally got back on top and
Yeah.
won the state title. I mean, it had been a while, but
Yeah.
you had to love that.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, it was amazing. And I went
That's
back
interesting.
to a game, the first game, even though they lost in overtime. They
Oh,
lost to
Glenville?
Glenville.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow, tough game.
But yeah.
Did you and Teddy Ginn duke it out?
Nah. Nah. I actually went back because I got inducted in the Massillon Hall of Fame.
Oh,
But
that's amazing.
yeah, they just the atmosphere. I was telling the kids here, because I took them to Massillon, the kids that were talking about that were my stepson's friend. I took them to Massillon 2 years ago for my camp, and they got to see like how big of a football town and big of a football school it is. So it's nice.
That's kind of neat. That's cool. So we're gonna say that our rivalry is bigger, but the Massillon one is pretty big in itself. That's kind of cool.
It's
I'm gonna
like
have
a
to check
mini
it out.
one. Yeah, honestly.
Yeah.
It really is. The history.
I'll have to check that out.
football. You got to check it out. Get yourself.
Yeah, I'll have to go to a game. Maybe not that
No,
game,
you
but I'll
should.
go to a Massillon game.
You should go to the Massillon McKinley game. I actually got to go for the first time. Was that last year or 2 years ago? Because I was always playing, so I never got to go.
Yeah.
But as a fan, I got to go, and it's just like the tailgates, crazy. Like the tailgates.
Okay, I've definitely you sold me. You had me at tailgate.
You gotta go. The whole parking lot on the left side of the stadium is tailgates. Like, I got a bunch of family members that have like cookouts and stuff. Like, everybody, you can walk up and down. They're offering free food and drinks, and then like some of the people don't even go into the game. They just watch it from the tailgate. Like, it's that many people. It's filled with stands, like filled everybody. It's amazing. Definitely should go.
That's why sports matter. That's why I think that's what people don't understand is that's why sports matter. I've met some of my best friends on social media because as a woman, it's been hard to find other women who were as into it as I am because I'm a little and that's I'm a little over the top, and maybe they're not quite as over the top as me, but they love going just as much as I do now. So it's just really, it's family. And it's really hard to explain to somebody who doesn't like it. You know, the Go Sports people, it's family. It's a feeling of, you know, when in 2014, when Ohio State won, we felt like winners. That was the second best feeling. I think the first best feeling for me was when the Cavs won the championship. That was
You hadn't experienced that yet. You hadn't experienced that yet.
Right. It was a whole other level because, you know, we probably never will again. That's how it felt, you know, being from Cleveland or being a Cleveland fan. But me and my tattoos, I have a big, huge Ohio State tattoo, Gareon, not just Denzel Ward's signature. I have a big Buckeye helmet on my calf, like I earned it.
Yeah.
But I digress. So
every year you get a Buckeye leaf every year. I think
I need to start doing that. But we've been on almost an hour, so we can round this up. So my last question to you is coaching something that you would ever be interested in? So once you're done with your NFL journey, and you said you were training, and I think if anybody can do it, it's definitely you. But once you're done with that journey, have you thought about coaching at a higher level? Because you seem like you have so much to offer.
Yeah, I thought about it. Coaching is just hard because it's so many politics. And
well, the parents suck. I'm just gonna say it. They're ruining the sport.
Yeah, parents, not even just parents though. It's a lot of politics behind the scenes with owners, GMs, bosses. It just have to be the right situation. I'd have to obviously like know people on the staff or just understand what am I really getting myself into? Because like I said, I'm an introvert and I'm a transparent person. Like, and if I go somewhere and I'm a DB coach and any coach tries to tell me how to coach my guys, we're gonna fall out. I already know. So I can't be that person that's like,
Yeah.
not a person like you can't tell me anything, but like if a coach is trying to impede and tell a DB that do some dumb shit, like we're not gonna have that. And then it's like you said, the parents, like if I have a parent like, why is my kid not playing, or this and that, and the kid sucks, like I'm gonna tell you straight up, like he sucks. That's why he's not playing.
Sucks. Yeah, that's why he's not playing. Yeah,
So
I don't have any
just,
lovely child, but he's just not good.
I just feel like if I go to a staff anywhere, they'd have to be okay with me being a transparent and a real person. Because I'm not soft.
Yeah.
I'm not soft on kids. I don't take it lightly. Like I'll always be hard on them, but I always explain to them why, and I tell them why. Like I feel like that's the difference. Is like people are like just dickheads to players or kids, like, and they don't understand. Like that's the difference. But like with me, like I'm gonna be on your ass, but I'm gonna tell you why and explain that it's coming from a place of like genuine and I love you for doing it. Like,
and I'm gonna be on your side. I'm gonna be on your ass, but I'm gonna be your number one.
Supporter.
I'm gonna be that guy for you. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So I feel like with training, that's why I do it, because if a kid doesn't like my training, like you can leave. I don't care. Like it doesn't matter to me. But like with coaching, I'm stuck with you. Like, and then that's also not even just with that. Like with coaching, if that does happen, if something now it's affecting the team and it's affecting other things. Like I don't want to be that person to be affecting that because a player doesn't want to listen to me, or me and a coach are fighting. You know, like so it just have to be the right situation. But I'll definitely be open to it for sure. I feel like we need
Ethan,
more.
did you have? Yeah, Gareon, if you ever come to Ohio State, I think that you would fit. You'd be, because we got some talent there, and we could use some talent. That would be ironic though. Like you have a coach coming in and you're telling you how to go, and you're like, your mother, I played in the NFL. I know what I'm doing. Okay. I have a national championship and I played for the NFL. I think I know how the hell to play this position.
You'd be surprised though. It happens. Like
I wouldn't be surprised at all. Yeah.
I got drafted to the Raiders, and Rod Woodson, who played, I don't know if it was 16 or 17 years in the NFL.
Yeah.
Hall of Famer, played safety and corner, and was literally the corners coach under the head DB coach who coached like high school. I think they said like 2 years ago, he was coaching linebackers, and Rod Woodson was under him as just the corners coach. And it was like, how does that even happen? And I remember when Gruden got hired, I asked Rod, like, are you going to be a coach? Because I learned so much from him just in that little bit of time. And I was hurt, and I still learned a lot from him. And I asked him, like, are you going to be the coach next year? And he was like, if they don't make me the head DB coach, like, I'm done. Like, doesn't make sense. And they did not make him the head DB coach. And they brought some guy in. I'm not even going to say his name, but he was like 5'2", never played football in his life.
Perfect.
Like, it's like, all right.
Yeah. It's the whole
Rod Woodson,
it's
like,
not what
on,
you know too, and some of those. It's nice to see there's nepotism in the NFL though too, because it's rampant in some some companies. So I digress. So Ethan, did you have anything else?
I have one other quick question for you here. Just kind of, I like to leave on something fun. You played at the Oakland Coliseum. Are the stories true? Was it as bad as people say?
Field?
The stadium, the locker rooms,
all of it, terrible.
All of it.
It was so bad.
The alleged sewage backup, or
it was awful to play on a baseball. Dirt burn is way worse than turf burn.
Okay.
But the fans though, like next level. I loved Oakland's fans, like, and I know they're pissed that they went to Vegas, but like the fans were amazing. Obviously, you got crazy fans everywhere. Those are one of the most craziest fan bases, but when I tell you the stadium, like as far as the electrifying like experience, it was definitely amazing. I love the Raider fans for sure.
That is awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that.
That's a great way to end it. I know that we're just a little over the hour mark, so we will spare you because I know that we could just talk for hours. So we will spare you. We would love it if you would come on again. There's just so much action in college. And we've definitely had our best show. So we've got a lot of viewers going. So Gareon, you're getting a lot of attention that we think that you deserve. You deserve this. Again, if you missed us at the beginning, you want to talk about, and I don't even want to use the word redemption because there was nothing that you needed to redeem, but your story arc, your arc of how loved you were and how I think loved you are now. It's just a really nice story. And I think that what you're doing is amazing with these kids, and you're very, very beloved to us fans. So thank you so very much for doing this with us. We really appreciate you, and we would love to have you back.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime. I appreciate y'all having me on too. But yeah, I'm always open to come on anytime.
We love it.
For sure.
We love it.
Yeah.
We want, you've got so many good stories, so much to
Yeah.
tell, so much to teach.
Yeah.
I'm serious because
Yeah.
it helps to understand the game. If you have a little bit better understanding when you're watching it, it makes it so much better. So much better. But thank you again. Thank you so much. As I said at the outset, thank you for responding to me. Thank you for coordinating with Heather. Thank you for giving us your time. We greatly appreciate it. We absolutely want you back on here anytime. Open door policy, and we'd love to have you on again.
Yeah, and guys, just so you don't forget, everybody that's watching, please make sure that you follow Gareon on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, at Conley Island, and then follow him on Instagram. There's 2 accounts. There's his personal account, and then there is his personal training account. So please make sure that you guys go on, give him a follow, and just follow along with his journey. There's a lot of really good stuff on there. So give him a follow, give us a follow on all of the socials. You guys know where. And thank you, Gareon. We very, very much appreciate this.
No, thank you.
Thank you so much. So for our guest, Gareon Conley, for Heather and myself, you've been tuned into the Best Doggone Podcast in the land.